So we've got a really good lineup this evening, and the meeting really is one for to bring information to people about the campaign and about the issues involved of these sports academies. So really, without more ado, I will call our first speaker, who is the MP for Tottenham, David Lammy.
This meeting has been described, I think, by Michael Gove as a meeting of leftists and ideologues. How many people in this room are parents? Hands up. How many people in this room are Democrats? Hands up. Localists. And how many people want to ensure that in a constituency like this, with issues of deprivation and people in real need, how many people are on the side of school improvement and standards? That is why we have the turnout here in this room. You'll forgive me if I begin a little emotionally. My journey begins in this school hall. I arrived here in 1975 in the nursery. And my parents, like many, making their way to this country as immigrants and choosing a school for their children, relied on the teachers, the head teachers that have come through this school, and actually here, as we come together, on over 100 years of history. And if I stand here in front of you, able to speak and you understand what I'm saying, or indeed if you don't agree with some of the things that I'm going to say, you can blame some of it on Downhill's teachers. I am hugely grateful to the staff at this school for all that they have done over so many years. There's someone in this room who doesn't want to be named, but grew up or raised her children on my road, Dongona Road, just a few roads from here. 7 children came to this school, and 6 of them went on to university, some with doctorates. So we don't accept that caricature of failure that is constantly being visited on us and this community from national government. It is unfair. It is reminiscent of the 1980s, in which it is so easy to kick around a local authority, to suggest that the people have solely one perspective, to suggest that the people in this room want to support failure and not to understand the challenges that exist. I might say that the first thing Michael Gove could do for the London Borough of Haringey is give it fair funding for its schools. Because it is brutally unfair that just a few roads away, in the London Borough of Haringey, a pupil gets well over £1,500 a year more than the pupil in a neighbouring borough with the same issues. That's what he could do to support improvement. I think that if you are in the business of school improvement, you are in the business of collaboration. You are, yes, in the business of challenge. But all that we have learnt over this last period are the ingredients to success are many. The head teacher is key. Strong leadership team is important. A strong ethos is important. Developments in the classroom, booster classes, federation, joining up and partnering with really able schools, close cooperation with secondary schools neighbouring. All of those things beginning to turn around the problems that Downhills has had over about the last 3 years. That's over 100 years of history, remember, and problems for the last 3. Now, let me just say quite clearly, this is a broad coalition in this room. There will be people here solely because they're local parents. Others here because they are parents and care about all children, even though it's not their own. Some, as I've said, who are Democrats and localists. Others who were opposed to academies under a Labour government and are opposed to them now. I'm not opposed to academies. I recognise that if a school has got real challenges with discipline, if parents are voting with their feet and going in the opposite direction, if standards are going through the floor and have been doing that so year on year on year, of course there can be a case for a new model. But I am against forced academies. I am against brutalising and picking on the constituency of Tottenham and the London Borough of Haringey. You know, as we sit here in Downhills Primary, here in North London, let us recognise that there are over 2,500 primary schools in England with performance worse than this one. Is Michael Gove suggesting that he's going to force academies on those 2,500? No. And where's his constituency? Surrey. 26 primaries in Surrey with performance worse than this one. So why have you turned up at Downhills to pick this fight if it's not for ideology? I came and I met with the governors. We've seen a crude caricature of the sort of people who care about education here in Tottenham. Who are the governors? People who run small business, senior civil servants, a hedge fund manager, solicitors. This is a governing body with capacity. This is a governing body making hard decisions, like losing 6 teachers in order to take this school forward. And that's why, when Ofsted turned up in September for their monitoring visit, they recognised the strong leadership team. They recognised the changes that have been made. And what did they say? The school is on the road to improvement. So why just a few months later should the Secretary of State choose to pick on this school and say that he is intent on foisting an academy on it, regardless of the wishes of pupils, schools and parents? Of course, my strong advice is that we will seek judicial review. We will fight this in the courts and in Parliament because it is grossly, grossly unfair. We will stand up for our young people. And we do ask the Secretary of State to recognise all that we have been through in Tottenham and why a school like this one should say to itself, we want to work together on improvement. We don't want a divided community, which is part of what we saw on the streets in August. That is hugely important to us. I think for someone publicly school educated who has been to Oxbridge, it is hugely discourteous not even to bother to pick up the phone or drop the local MP a letter if the proposal is to force academies on their schools. I am democratically elected, and that surely counts for something in this country. think when you bring governors together to determine the way forward, when you challenge quite rightly, when you set up Ofsted to inspect, to look closely, and also to challenge, that it's right that you listen to those conclusions. So that's why I'm resisting this proposal for this school, but I also recognise for other schools in both this authority and others, the way forward is much better done in the way it was done before. This idea that someone like me is not in the business of challenging for excellence is a real grotesque caricature, frankly, of everything that I've stood for. When we set up the London Challenge and brought Haringey Council into the London Challenge, of course it was to challenge, to get better improvement. But the difference there was collaboration, not competition. And that is at the heart of this proposal. At the heart of this proposal are certain friends of Michael Gove who would like to get their hands on the state system, who want a profit motive. Yes. It's borrowing from experiments in the United States. And for those of us who believe at the heart of a civilized country is the state, is coming together as taxpayers for all of our citizens, that we must resist it. And that even though, of course, there has been some success at secondary level, at primary level, where you have so much more schools, that collaboration is critical. So we stand up, we sign petitions, we come together in rooms like this, we come together as citizens, as parents, and we say to Michael Gove, live up to the education and the apparent intellect you are meant to have, and don't treat us like a bunch of fools. Thank you very much.